Hi friends, before we get started let me answer this dude.
Just old ass games without you knowing anything, dumbass. And GTA 4 has the worst optimization, even modern PCs won't run that game.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
As I said in my previous video, I love this game. Actually I prefer it much more than GTA 5. And just because GTA 4 is a badly optimized game doesn't mean a low-end PC can't run it. History, Civil War, Secret Missions. This is low-budget game and you can finish the campaign in just a few hours. It didn't get good reviews, but I really like it and see it as a true underrated gem. The Punisher, a third-person shooter where you play as the Marvel anti-hero, using brutal tactics to take down criminals and corrupt officials in New York City. Tortuga 2 Treasures, a pirate-themed action-adventure game with swashbuckling sword fights and treasure hunting on the high seas. The Pirate Plague of the Dead, a strategy game where you command a fleet of pirate ships, plundering the seas and spreading chaos in a Caribbean-inspired setting. Killer is Dead Nightmare Edition, a stylish hack-and-slash game with surreal visuals and fast-paced combat, reminiscent of the Devil May Cry series but with a unique art style and narrative. The Eye of the Dragon, an RPG where you play as a dragon, defending your territory from invading forces and gaining power by destroying villages and hunting creatures. Necrovision, Lost Company, a horror-themed first-person shooter set during World War I, where you battle against both human and supernatural enemies in a dark and atmospheric world. I Am Alive. It's a fantastic survival adventure set in a post-apocalyptic world, kind of like The Last of Us. You'll love the intense exploration and resource management challenges it offers. Sleeping Dogs. This game is awesome in every kind of way. It is open world like GTA, fighting like Arkham Asylum, free running like Assassin's Creed, and a story like none ever seen before. Wolfenstein. If you are a fan of the franchise that started the genre of FPS, then you have to play Wolfenstein. Kung Fu Panda 2008, a platformer/adventure game based on the popular animated movie, where you play as per the panda mastering Kung Fu and saving the Valley of Peace. Prison Break: The Conspiracy, a stealth action game based on the TV series, where you play as an undercover agent infiltrating a prison to uncover a conspiracy. El Matador is like Max Payne, featuring intense shootouts and dynamic show motion sequences that keep players on the edge of their seats, so if you like Max Payne, try this game too. Soldier of Fortune, Payback. Overall, this game isn't the best game ever made, but it had great ragdoll physics. If you're into gore, you'll love it. Code of Honor 3, Desperate Measures is an intense first-person shooter game that puts players in the shoes of a skilled special forces operative, offering thrilling combat and challenging missions, although it may suffer from some dated graphics and repetitive gameplay elements. Shellshock 2, Blood Trail. I found this game to be quite enjoyable. The AI isn't the best, and it takes only 2 hours to finish the game, but honestly, if you like zombie games, you'll try this game. LA Rush is an exciting arcade-style racing game set in the vibrant streets of Los Angeles, offering intense action and thrilling car customization options, though the controls can feel a bit clunky at times. History, Civil War, Secret Missions is an immersive first-person shooter game set during the American Civil War, offering intense combat and historical accuracy reminiscent of the Call of Duty series, providing a captivating gaming experience. Alpha Protocol. Alpha Protocol is the game of the genre similar to Mass Effect series, but in the espionage setting of post-Cold War on terrorism. Street Racing Syndicate. It's an old-school arcade racer similar to Just or Need for Speed Underground. So, if you love girls and fast cars in the early 2000s, this is the game for you. Live for Speed is a free-to-play racing simulator that delivers an authentic driving experience, providing precise controls and realistic physics, making it feel like you're actually behind the wheel, although the graphics may feel a bit dated compared to newer racing games. The Turing Test. Explore the mysteries of a distant moon base in this first-person puzzle game, testing your wits and morality in a thought-provoking narrative. Black Site Area 51 is a budget game, so don't expect too much from it. It's a first-person shooter game depicting the battle of American soldiers against aliens at the iconic secret location, but unfortunately, it suffers from a weak storyline and monotonous gameplay, but it's still fun to play it. Medal of Honor. Medal of Honor is inspired by and developed with actual Tier 1 operators from this elite community. It's not a Call of Duty beta, but definitely close. This game is about realism, not arcade shooting. The SP is action-packed but short with only 5 hours of gameplay. Malo Briggs is an over-the-top action game with a cheesy story and explosive combat, offering a fun and campy experience reminiscent of classic action movies. Deadfall Adventures. If you enjoy the Tomb Raider games, you'll love this game. This underrated first-person shooter has many puzzle elements, and the story feels like a cross between The Mummy and Indiana Jones movies. Batman: Arkham Origins. Overall, not as good as the previous Arkham games, but still pretty damn good, with a really cool story and the same good old combat from the previous games. Spec Ops is the line. This game has, unlike other shooters, a very strong story in the campaign. The voice acting is fabulous, the art style is excellent, the sound is amazing. Shadow Harvest. Phantom Ops is a budget game, so don't expect too much from it. It's a third-person shooter set in a near-future world of espionage and intrigue, although it may suffer from some technical issues. Alekine's Gun is a thrilling stealth action game set during the Cold War era, offering engaging espionage gameplay, though it may have some technical issues. Red Faction Guerrilla is similar to the Battlefield games, with its unique emphasis on environmental destruction and the demolition of buildings, features not offered by every other shooter game. It helps make the game fun when you can destroy any building you see. Tom Clancy's End War, a real-time tactical warfare game that puts you in command of modern military units in a World War III scenario. The Scourge Project Episode 1 dive into a futuristic world of covert ops and high-stakes battles, where teamwork and strategy are key in this story-driven shooter. If you enjoy pure trash games, you should check out Bikini Karate Babes 2. This game is ridiculous, but local co-op included, so it's a great way to have fun with friends. The Curse Crusade, embark on a dark and gritty journey through medieval Europe, facing off against supernatural foes as you seek to lift a deadly curse. Battlefield 3. Battlefield 3 is amazing. The single-player campaign is definitely the weakest link, even though it's more than just decent. The co-op missions are fun, but online multiplayer is the main reason you should get Battlefield 3. Thief. I've loved the Thief games since the very first one, and I love this remake so much. I love that you can fight if you want or don't fight. The Darkness 2. The Darkness 2 is a top-quality arcade FPS. The artistic component is simply delicious and is currently the best cel shading technique we've seen so far. Turning Point. Fall of Liberty. This is an old-budget World War II shooter game, and the campaign is only 3 hours long, so don't expect too much. However, it runs well on every low-end PC. Singularity. This is a Doom 3-inspired game with a strong dose of Bioshock and a brush of Half-Life 2. I love this game for the gunfights, over-the-top powers. Need for Speed Rivals. This is one of the best racing games I have played in a long time. With all the disappointing racing games in the Need for Speed series, this was definitely a welcomed addition to the series. Not since Burnout 3 have I had this much fun with a racing game. Call of Duty: A World at War. The single player isn't as compelling as Modern Warfare, but it's still worth playing nonetheless. The best part though is that there's a deep and satisfying multiplayer component waiting for you when you're done. Metro: Last Light. The game is incredible in every sense. Its story, art, ambience, audio, mechanics, and gunplay all combine to create one of the best gameplay experience. Driver is San Francisco, so underrated game. The car's handling is great. San Francisco is nearly perfect, and the progression system and online modes are great. Assassin's Creed 4: Black Flag. An energetic new protagonist, a focus on piracy and pillaging, excellent naval combat, and a huge, beautiful open world make Black Flag an easy game to recommend. The Godfather 2, not the best, but definitely not the worst. The Godfather 2 is an entertaining sandbox game that plays around. Condemned: The Criminal Origins. The game is a genre of action horror from the first person with RPG element. Interesting and addictive. The graphics look good for 2006. So the video game is like experiencing a movie, where players are immersed in a suspenseful and terrifying atmosphere, facing challenges similar to those in the Saw movie series. Mercenaries 2: World in Flames, an action-packed open-world game like GTA, where you play as a mercenary taking on contracts and causing chaos in a war-torn landscape. The Lord of the Rings: War in the North, join the Fellowship in an epic co-op action RPG, battling the forces of Sauron in Untold Tales from Middle-earth. Street Legal Racing: The Red Line. This game was ahead its time. Way ahead. In fact, such a realistic car customization and physics were not present back when the game only was selling on CDs. So it's a pretty old game, but you will enjoy it as a car guy. You will buy your own car, race with it, rebuild it, race it, crash it, rebuild it, and so on. How to Survive is a survival game with crafting and exploration elements, providing a tense and immersive experience similar to games like Don't Starve. Rage, a must-have for both fans of FPS and sandbox games because it succeeds in both genres. an addictive and furiously violent video game that will be breathtaking for every action fan. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine, a fast-paced action game set in a futuristic universe, similar to Gears of War, where you play as a super soldier battling hordes of alien enemies. Fallout 3. You surely do know the Fallout series. It's hard to say which game was the best, as every game was unique, and everyone has his own taste, but we went with Fallout 3, as we feel it was the most impactful of them all. A post-apocalyptic setting was always a good source of inspiration for the creators of games, books, and other works of art. Made Man Confessions of the Family Blood, a third-person action game where you rise through the ranks of the Mafia, completing missions and engaging in brutal gunfights. Far Cry 3. By far the best in the Far Cry franchise is Far Cry 3. The game is set in a tropical island where you control Jason Brody, a guy who has lost everything. The graphics and gameplay were amazing and the story was really good. It is a must-buy and play. Desperados 2: Cooper's Revenge, a tactical stealth game set in the Wild West, where you control a group of outlaws on a quest for revenge, similar to the Commandos series. The First Templar. Masterwork, great story, beautiful music, atmospheric, cultural content, addicting combat system, perfect learning curve. Dishonored. It's a rare game that feels so compulsively replayable, but Dishonored is such a game. The compelling abilities, the bold artistic design, the colorful characters, and above all, the freedom of choice. Blood. Fun arcade-style racing with lots of cars and is a good way to kill time, but if you are expecting a very strict driving sim, then this game is not for you. Mount and Blade, Warband, a medieval sandbox RPG where you can lead armies, engage in large-scale battles, and build your own empire in a dynamic and immersive world. Crysis. But can it run Crysis? That meme never gets old, but many people misunderstand because Crysis runs on low-end PCs. However, to this day there is no gaming PC that can run Crysis at maximum graphics settings with a stable frame rate. Borderlands 2. Speaking of floating numbers, you must give Borderlands a try if you didn't already. You can start right from the best game of the franchise. Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 is only an amazing game, a label that the 90% of the third-person shooters would want for themselves. Divinity Original Sin is a fantasy RPG with deep tactical combat and rich storytelling, perfect for fans of old-school role-playing games like Baldur's Gate. Medal of Honor, Warfighter. Pretty cool FPS. Sadly, no further games were developed after this one. Love the series. Men of War Assault Squad 2, a realistic World War II real-time strategy game that emphasizes tactical warfare and unit management, perfect for history buffs and strategy enthusiasts. Bulletstorm is a fast-paced action-packed shooter game filled with creative kills. The gameplay is intense and the environment allows you to stylishly take down enemies in spectacular ways. Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 is a dark fantasy action-adventure game where players must battle ancient and formidable enemies as a vampire, although some challenging parts of the game may feel somewhat repetitive. Rise of the Argonauts, an epic action RPG set in Greek mythology where you embark on a quest to find the Golden Fleece and become a legendary hero, akin to God of War with a focus on storytelling and character development. Shadow Blade Reload, a challenging platformer with fluid ninja gameplay, requiring precise timing and reflexes to navigate through levels, reminiscent of games like Ninja Gaiden but with a modern twist. Driver Parallel Lines is an open-world action-driving game set in both the 1970s and 2000s, offering intense car chases and a captivating storyline, reminiscent of the Grand Theft Auto series. The graphics dated, and I think still hold up well today. Damnation is a mix of Gears of War and Prince of Persia in steampunk setting. However, it is a very short and buggy game, feeling rushed and unfinished. Nonetheless, the gameplay is quite enjoyable and runs smoothly on most low-end PCs. Therefore, Damnation is a true budget title worth trying out. Stops the zombie in Rebel without a pulse. An extremely underrated gem. It's pretty fun and cool being able to be the zombie and create your own little zombie army, and this game runs on any PC. Dark Messiah of Might and Magic has awesome badass combat system where you can kick enemies off ledges, slash them with swords, and cast spells for intense battles. So this game is like the Elder Scrolls Skyrim but possibly even better. James Bond Quantum of Solace. A hybrid first-person and third-person shooter that covers events from Quantum and Casino Royale. The game is fun. This game is so much fun. I really like that Deadpool talks with the player, and this game is just insane and it makes this game amazing. We have Batman, Spider-Man, Wolverine and many more superhero games. I hope we get a new Deadpool game too. Dark is an immersive stealth action game set in a supernatural world of vampires, but it may suffer from some gameplay flaws. Realm of Ink is an immersive action-adventure game set in a fantastical world within a book, offering unique gameplay mechanics and captivating storytelling. Albert and Otto is a fun puzzle platformer game with a cool story and great visuals, like Limbo, but it could use more challenging puzzles to keep players engaged. Uber Soldier 2: Crimes of War, an alternate history first-person shooter where you play as a genetically enhanced soldier battling Nazis during World War II. You Are Empty, a first-person horror shooter set in an alternate history Soviet Union where you must battle grotesque mutants and paranormal forces. Xenoclash, a first-person brawler with surreal visuals and hand-to-hand combat mechanics set in a bizarre, fantastical world. Bionic Commando is a fast-paced action game with a unique swinging mechanic, providing exhilarating gameplay similar to the Spider-Man series. Enemy Front, just good WW2 shooter, refreshes old memories made while playing Medal of Honor series or Call of Duty. Made by Not Big Studio. Splinter Cell: A Conviction. Conviction is the perfect evolution for Sam Fisher's series. The gameplay is smooth and dynamic, and even if the graphics are not the best of this generation, this last Splinter Cell delivers some serious action. Invasion. I don't care if the mechanics resemble the game Gears of War. I have played Gears of War before and I loved it. Fear 3. I really love the Fear games. When I find out that F3AR is coming, it was a fascinating game. It is tell story how did Paxton Fettel and Pointman meet young Olma Wade when they were kids in the flashbacks. Demon Icon is a gripping action RPG set in a dark fantasy world, featuring thrilling combat and a captivating storyline reminiscent of the Elder Scrolls series, providing hours of immersive gameplay. Enslaved: Odyssey to the West is a thrilling action-adventure game set in a post-apocalyptic world, featuring engaging storytelling and exciting combat similar to the Uncharted series, making it a must-play experience. Invisible Incorporated. It's a super cool turn-based strategy game with stealth, kind of like XCOM. I had a blast playing it, and I think you'll love it too. James Bond: Nightfire is older than the others in this video, but I simply love this game, and if you have a very outdated PC, then this game is for you. Overlord 2, a fantasy-themed action-adventure game where you control a powerful sorcerer and command hordes of minions to conquer the land, similar to Pikmin but with a darker twist. Reservoir Dogs, an intense third-person shooter based on the iconic Quentin Tarantino film, focusing on heist and intense gunfights, similar to the Payday series but with a more cinematic approach. Star Wars Force Unleashed, a thrilling action-adventure game set in the Star Wars universe, where players wield the Force to battle enemies and uncover the secrets of the galaxy. 13th Century Death or Glory, a real-time strategy game set in the Middle Ages, focusing on historical battles and military tactics. Ace Combat Assault Horizon, an arcade-style flight combat game featuring fast-paced aerial dogfights and cinematic action sequences. 13th Century Death or Glory, a real-time strategy game set in the Middle Ages, focusing on historical battles and military tactics. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, turn on the bell and share with your friends. It really means a lot. Thanks.